What's going on, guys? It's Manny here, Yellow Tape DFS, here to give you my final take on Week 4 of the NFL. Before we get started, please go ahead and like and leave a comment on this video. I don't care if it's something you want to hear, something coming up, something new to add to this video. If you're just commenting on the overall of this video, improvement, any criticism is well wanted, constructive or not. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring that bell so you can get all the updated notifications. First thing I'm going to go over with today's video is like we did last week. We're going to go over the implied totals. So we have the Panthers and the Texans at 47.5, the Browns and the Ravens at 45, Chiefs and the Lions at 54.5, Raiders and the Colts at 45.5, Chargers and Dolphins at 44.5, the Redskins and the Giants at 49. We have the Texans and the Falcons at 46. The Bills and the Pats at 41.5. We have the Seahawks and the Cardinals at 48. The Bucks and the Rams at 49.5. Let's see. Jaguars and Broncos at 38. Vikings and Bears at 38. Cowboys and Saints, not really relevant to the main slate, but they're at 48. Same thing with the Bengals and the... We have... That is it for this slate. All right. So, starting off our quarterback. Based off of implied totals, Mahomes, Stafford, those guys are going to be in for a big game. They have the highest implied total on the slate. I don't see a problem choosing either one of these guys. Let's see. Moving on. I think the next highest implied total was actually the Rams and the Bucks. Now, Jameis Winston's pretty inconsistent, but you can always throw him in a couple of lineups because this game has the second highest implied total on the spread. I don't know what to tell you. You can play a little bit of him. Goff is always all right. Gurley hasn't been looking the same since last season. I don't know what to say about that, but all three receivers on the Rams are in play. We'll get to that later. Obviously, Wilson is in play. Daniel Jones, Kyler Murray, Case Keenum, all these guys. All these guys on high implied totals, faster paces of play. I like them all. They're all those games. They're just scripted really well. So it's kind of easy when you see lower implied totals on the slate, like games that are under 40. It's kind of easy to fade that game unless you feel like there's somebody that's really dedicated to scoring all the points for that team. Moving along to running back. We have McCaffrey, who's at 8,800, high on the list. Houston has not really allowed much run game. I know Kamara did not score, and he was like 3 yards off of getting 100 yards. And Kamara's a pretty decent back. But I don't know. Houston's run defense seems pretty good thus far. A lot of people are on McCaffrey. I can see why. Like 3 more yards could have made a big difference for Kamara's point production. He's in play for me. He's just not a favorite. Dalvin Cook, he has scored a touchdown in every game and has over 100 yards each game against the Bears. I don't have much interest. Bears defense is really good against the run. Eckler, this is something you're going to have to pay attention to for like closer to game time with Melvin Gordon being active. We don't know how much of a role he's going to have. That's it's kind of scary in the fantasy world. Moving down, David Johnson. I do like this guy a lot. He's not being spoken by many. He also has a touchdown in every game. I can see this guy getting in there. Mark Ingram. He's in a good spot against the Browns. We saw Henry tear up the Browns. I can see that doing good. Henry also against Atlanta seems fine. Marlon Mack against Oakland. And on the flip side, I also like Jacobs against Indy. Fournette against Denver if you want to target that game. Seems fine. And moving a little further down on a price, maybe your guy Williams, the active one, running back on Kansas City, Darrell. He will probably have a nice production. McCoy was a little banged up. The other Williams is ruled out. He's only 4,700. Something to eye. It's an eyeball. Moving along to receivers. At the top of the list, we've got Julio Jones. That guy's a monster. Also a touchdown in every game against Tennessee. His defense is decent, but it's Julio Jones. Okay? Guy's always in play for me. Same thing with Hopkins. He's due for a great game. I know their O-line is a little rough, so it's kind of hard for him to get the ball the way he wants to, but this is a high-paced team he's playing against. They're going to have to keep up putting up points. I like Hopkins. Keenan Allen seems like an easy shot. Super easy to play this guy. Odell against Baltimore, I feel like Cleveland's going to be behind, so Odell's. Most people are not targeting guys from the Rams and the Bucks, and they're the second highest implied total. So I kind of like going after Mike Evans. We know Godwin has the game time decision hashtag on him. All the receivers for the Rams are in play, but Kupp is getting the lead on target shares, so that's kind of easy to go to. Watkins, possession receivers are doing really good against Detroit. Darius Slay is not in the picture this week, from what I was told. I just see this being really well. If you want to target the Minnesota-Chicago game, I know the way to hurt Chicago's in the air, so Thielen and Diggs could be in play. And on the flip side, going back to running backs a little bit that I forgot to mention, Montgomery is in play because that's the only way to hurt Minnesota is the run game, as we saw with Aaron Jones. Edelman has a question mark label. Will be game time decision, which puts Josh Gordon in a real good spot against Buffalo. Although I kind of want to attack the run game against Buffalo, but with 3 running backs and you don't know who's going to get the load because you can't read the mind of Belichick, it's really hard to decipher. So Josh Gordon seems like a safe play. Galladay, he's in play. Highest point total. It's an easy one. Shepard. I love Shepard. Speedy receivers, guys that can spread the field against Washington, do very well. We saw that with Deshaun Jackson when they played against Washington. Possession receivers also do well against Indianapolis, and I like Terrell Williams. DJ Moore is in play, along with Curtis Samuel. Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk would be in play for me. Let's see. Hardman would be a great play also against Detroit. Yeah, once again, if you want to target anybody from Jacksonville outside of Fournette, DJ Chark has a touchdown in every game. Can't pass on that. Let's see. Indianapolis is pretty banged up. T.Y. Hilton is probably not playing, so the next guy in line would be Paris Campbell. He could be somebody to look into. He's pretty decent. We have to check on the news for McLaurin. I think he's priced beautifully over here on DraftKings at 4,500. Just keep up to his tag and see like injury updates. If not, Richardson is 3,700 and Quinn is 3,000 flat. Keep your eye on those guys. Let's see. Receivers. Preston Williams on Miami. I'm looking at the game script, and I'm not impressed with the Chargers defense just yet. They've been banged up pretty much for most of the beginning of the season. If any game Preston Williams has a breakout game, I feel like he's overdue now. He's been the lead target shareholder for this team. Maybe the Dolphins can do something. I know they're tanking, so I'm not like suggesting that you put this guy in a million lineups, but if you're throwing a dart, it's a good one at 3,900. Moving along to tight ends. Once again, judging by implied game totals and game scripts. Travis Kelce, the guy's like legitimately always in play. Evan Ingram against Washington has to be in play. They have another high implied total. Waller. I know that Gruden's offense always runs off of the tight end, and Waller is probably the go-to guy if you're not playing Williams, either one or Jacobs. Like those are the 3 guys that I like this week. on Oakland against Indy. My favorite tight end on the list, though, is Will Dissly going up against Arizona. They are the absolute worst against tight ends this season. So it's kind of like an easy play for me. I don't see how anything else can go wrong. Dissly is good. And if you want a shot in the dark at other games with high implied totals, I like throwing in OJ Howard and TJ Hawkinson. Those guys have been quiet, and this could be a nice week for them. Unlike the other videos in the past, I'm going to go ahead and give you some core plays that I will be rocking myself. So we're going to go back. I'm not going to give you a quarterback to choose from because there's so many. Defense, there's a decent amount. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a running back or two, a receiver or two, and a tight end. So my personal core plays, I like Mark Ingram. People may say that I'm point chasing. I'm not. I'm looking at the game script. I remember when Derrick Henry ran all over them at the very beginning. And I don't see Mark Ingram having lesser than a shot to do so, where he is a better back. Nothing against Henry. Let's see. That would definitely be a go-to for me. On the receiver portion, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys. This is an easy one. It's just super easy. I don't see many people targeting him as far as in their videos or other news. Terrell Williams. He's just lined up for some good work. Let's see. Who else do I have in here? Who else would I want to pair? Game script to keep it up. DeAndre Hopkins. He's probably not talked about as much. Williams, Mark Ingram, and last but not least, at tight end, Will Dissly. Easy lock in. Those are the core plays. One more time, they are Mark Ingram, DeAndre Hopkins, Terrell Williams, and Will Dissly. Green. Once again, please like, comment, give me some sort of feedback. I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to be here to keep giving you content. You guys have a good one.